I thought it was fake news. He said that California's woke politics and DEI are, because he says it was unbelievable. I thought it was fake news. He said that California's woke politics and DEI are the reasons for the fires because Newsom has been tearing down dams because Native Americans, but he called them Indians, wanted some of the river back so they could catch salmon. And Gavin didn't just knock down one dam for the Indians. He knocked them all down. He knocked down 4 of the dams. I'm sorry, this is stolen land.
Let me cut you right there. If it's stolen land, then you can also give up all the stolen land. You build your big houses.
Okay, California is stolen land. Second of all, that's part of what always happens. These dams, there's preservation of the dam. So that was just complete, not only misinformation, but it was racist. And I think we need to also call stuff like that out.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember, they built the dams. They had clean water. Then they destroyed the dam to save the fish. And the clean water was sent to the sea. And they said they were going to build a dam to collect the water. And then they kind of failed doing that too.
I think what this has shown us is for people who thought that Donald Trump has changed, he has not changed, okay? No. He is the same immature, insensitive, inappropriate oaf that he's always been. What he should be doing right now is putting out tweets saying, I thank the heroic first responders. I thank the countries of Canada and Mexico and all the others who've helped. I thank the surrounding states that have sent help. I have talked to Governor Newsom. I have talked to Mayor Bass. I have told them that my administration in 7 days will be ready to supply everything and anything that California needs. Californians, my thoughts are with you. Those are the things you have to say. If you need help in figuring it out, go look at everything that Joe Biden has said for the last 4 years after a natural disaster. I have lived in Florida for 44 years. I have seen so many hurricanes. You know what somebody wants?
Clearly, Ron DeSantis is prepared every freaking year. But for some odd reason, Gavin Newsom isn't. The fact that you burn your whole state, well, not whole state, but a bunch of times, and you don't have water ready.
There was a fire catastrophe in California. Had to do with winds. You know how they always say, oh, the wind. It actually does. The winds move things and sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have if 900,000 buildings go up at the same time. Now, having lived in California, having lost every house save for one that we ever lived in, I take great offense at pointing fingers. You should be pointing fingers about how can we help?
Yeah.
It's too soon to be saying, oh, it's Gavin's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's like us taking seriously that there are, you know, magic lasers in the sky that direct the weather. That doesn't work. It doesn't happen. This is a catastrophe, and this is what's happened. And let's try to figure out how to work towards not having it happen again. But, you know, we don't control Mother Nature. Mother Nature doesn't give a damn what we want. Mother Nature does what she does. And if you're in the way, this is what happens. And California is chock full of people.
That's your plan. A future where nobody is fault, because if you have a plan and it failed, you had good intention. But it's nobody's fault. What are you talking about? If Mother Nature would destroy everything, okay, why the heck did you try to save a bunch of fish when Mother Nature is going to destroy everything? And if you tell me the fish did survive, do you have any idea how many endangered species are in California where they can't remove the bush of the dead wood because they feel at home?
The Biden administration first approved sending trained shooters into West Coast forests to kill up to 450,000 barred owls, just to save the endangered spotted owl.
We do know that they are currently doing this in some forests, more on a test case basis.
State Representative Ed Deal is one of several Oregon lawmakers urging the incoming Trump administration to cancel that plan. In a letter to Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, leaders of the new Department of Government Efficiency, they argue the plan will waste taxpayer money without solving the problem. The 30-year plan could cost taxpayers a staggering $1.35 billion, with each owl's death priced at $3,000.
Cadilo, remember to subscribe.
¿Por qué?
You don't want to politicize it, but you blame Trump. But if it was something with a gun and a shooting, ooh, you're gonna politicize it.
California has been under unmitigated Democrat 100% power control. Democrat, supermajority. What does that mean, supermajority? It means nobody can oppose their decision making. And now you've got it. You've got a situation where a catastrophe came and the billions of dollars that you and I gave was diverted to other woke, stupid Democrat projects. That's not hyperbole, it is a fact. You don't like it, change your party.
Hey man, I don't know. I just want to play fair. I wish everybody did that. Very simple, especially when I can point at fingers at laws that you pass.
I'm not very sympathetic to there were 100-mile-an-hour winds. Not because it's not true, but there's been enough modeling that we know that these kinds of outlier weather events are happening in greater and greater frequency. Remember that crazy apocalyptic video of that exact same part of Southern California in 2018 burning to the ground? Because that was 6 years ago. This is not like it was a distant memory from 100 years ago. We knew in 2018 that these types of...
the Sepulveda pass.
So yeah. This idea that we were just lollygagging around and got caught off guard by 100-mile-an-hour winds, to me, is completely not an acceptable answer. We knew in 2018 that these things could happen. We knew across the rest of the United States that these outlier weather events were happening in greater and greater frequency. If you weren't sure, you saw most of the insurance companies try to dump Southern California homes' fire coverage 3 months before this event happened. So all this data was in the realm of the knowable.
And that is something I don't get. If you cared so much about climate change that it's going to activate the fire when you try to preserve the nature, do something about it. Make sure there's enough water to prove I care about the water because climate change exists. Doesn't seem to. But you want to use this to prove to me there is climate change issue? But you don't want to avoid the fire?
And then when you double click and you get into a little bit more of the details, there's a level of incompetence bordering on criminal negligence here that we need to get to the bottom of. So I'll just give you a couple of facts. In the 1950s, the average amount of timber, so wood that was harvested in California, was around 6 billion board feet per year. In the intervening 70 years, that shrank to about 1.5 billion board feet. And so you'd say, okay, well, that's a 75% reduction. We must be making a very explicit stance on conservation. It turns out that that's not entirely true because what it left behind was nearly 163 million dead trees. Dead, like gone. And so you would say, well, those things should have been removed. And the problem is that then there's this California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, and a whole bunch of these other regulatory policies that limited the ability of local governments and fire management to clear these dead trees and vegetation.
And that's why I hate overregulation. You give people a job to care about the woods, to go against the government, show you their moral points. Now everything is burned down and you have nothing to protect. Oh no, the same place that cares about the animal believes in climate change. I'm like, okay man, I don't know. You can't care about something so much, fail at that and be like, well, I care about that too. No, like you don't get anything done. What do you want the whole country to burn?
And I think that that's a really big deal. And when you double click on that, here's where you find the real head scratcher. Okay? Multiple bills, AB 2330, AB 1951, AB 2639, all rejected by the Democrat-controlled legislature, or worse, vetoed by Governor Newsom, that would have exempted these wildfire prevention projects from CEQA and other permitting issues. Then there were other bills to try to minimize the risk of fires by burying power lines underground, SB 1003 as an example. Went nowhere, didn't even get to the governor's desk. So I'm just a little bit at a loss to explain these two bodies of data. One is everybody can see that these events are happening. Southern California lived through this exact type of moment just 6 years ago. All the bills that are meant to prevent this are blocked or vetoed. This is the ultimate expression of negligence and incompetence.
The fact that Gavin Newsom vetoed this is like, oh, you guys, it's going through, cancel. Nah, man. Wapalagi neck, man. Don't they make me speak my native language? Because you know I'm pissed. With a smile, because I need to keep faith.
I don't think Americans are making this connection. And the way we can see this in right here and now, take a look at the monthly change in Google searches. Look at the searches for wildfire. Up 2,400%. My goodness gracious. This is the most amount of people searching for wildfires ever. It's going back since Google Trends began back in 2004. But look at climate change. Look at the change. It doesn't go hand in hand with wildfires. It's actually down. It was 35%. Now, it was a little bit higher in 2007, a little bit higher in 2022. But look at this. In 2023, the last time we have data, 39%. That is not statistically significantly different from this 35% back in 1991. So despite all these extreme weather events, Americans are really no more worried about climate change than they were, what is that, now nearly 35 years ago?
It's not going to work if you keep pointing there and I keep getting stabbed here. And finally, I get a bill that's going to remove the knife. Vetoed by Gavin Newsom. Bruh, miss me. This is your own fault. Don't you see it? I'm not that stupid.
So Gavin Newsom has been caught stealing donations that should be going towards the fire victims for his own personal political fund. Let me show you what I found. So Gavin Newsom put out this website to combat misinformation called CaliforniaFireFacts.com. And when I went to take a look at it, it leads to Gavin Newsom's own website. And there's a place where I could donate. Now I'm looking closely at this. Look what you're seeing, right? Where is the donations actually going? Now it says it's supposed to go directly towards the victims, but check out who's managing this fund. Take a look at that, right? Who is processing this money? It's Act Blue. If you don't know what Act Blue is a political PAC for Democratic candidates. So in fact, any money that we donate in this so-called fund, a portion of it is going towards Democratic political campaigns. I didn't want to believe it, but this is our governor.
I think they're giving away the plan a little too soon. The fires in LA are not even close to being contained, and speculators already be speculating. Billionaire Bill Ackman tweeted this out last night saying, quote, "When the insurance companies stop writing policies in your city, sell and move out." If you haven't heard yet, the context here is that California's top insurer canceled hundreds of policies months ahead of the Los Angeles wildfire. Very sketchy and very messed up, that is for sure. But think about what Bill is essentially saying here, which is that insurance companies, mega corporations, can bully you into moving, making you leave your community, leave your family, leave the place that you grew up in. He's saying just give up and move. But I wonder what's in it for Bill. Is he priming us for something? Well, it was just announced this morning that Bill Ackman is planning on a takeover of Howard Hughes Holdings, a major real estate developer. They specialize in something called master planning. Quote, Howard Hughes does not operate on 5 or 10-year timelines, but on a timeline that extends 50 to 100 years. Through large-scale planning, Howard Hughes creates intimate communities that transform large American cities by changing the lived experience. We develop on a massive scale, changing the landscape of America. One example, 37,000 acres to build a, quote, city of the future in Phoenix's West Valley. But there are many other examples in their portfolio. Summerlin, Nevada, Woodland, Texas, etc., etc. And it looks like a new spot just opened up for Bill. The newly blank canvas for our master planners. My point isn't that new development is always bad or evil, but it's that these decisions on how to build a community should be left up to the people who live in that community, not people like Bill Ackman or these master planners who treat society as their little playpen where they essentially get to play God.
I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
I'm not saying they're trying to burn the land to build something. I'm just saying, instead of deciding to what you're going to build, You should ask the citizen. Because if you say you're living in a republic, you should listen to the people.
Don't get me wrong, ako sa kitabang Puta fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam jam turlo que ta verdeta welcome